Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Karim Bakshabasi speaking once again for the students of AD 4th semester. The title of the course is Teaching English and my today's topic is Audiolingual Method. Various approaches were given to teach language. All were popular in their time and all had great importance, but as the research continued, new methods came into being. I am speaking today for the students of AD 4th semester. The method is audiolingual method, which is called ALM. This method was adopted in Second World War. Government gave packages to the universities and commissioned them to research one method or make such new method so that they can train the army in a shorter span of a time. Resultantly, audiolingual method came into being because government wanted to train army officers, which they wanted to teach army with such a method which should be very much effective so that they can train them in no time. They wanted to teach army rapidly English language so that they can communicate, all of them, because when Second World War started there was not a single country which was involved in fighting, but there were the group of countries which were fighting from one side and the group of countries were fighting from the other side. So government took steps in they funded the universities and resultantly audiolingual method came into being. And this method, audiolingual method, was very much popular in 1960s and 70s. And there were certain characteristics of this language. Of course, every method and approach had certain advantages and disadvantages. It had certain merits and demerits. So audiolingual method had certain characteristics. The first thing which was emphasized in audiolingual method was teach simple sentences. Don't teach students complicated sentences, or don't teach students compound sentences first compared to the simple sentence. Means teach them simple sentence, not compound sentence, or teach them simple sentences, not complex sentences. Suppose if we want to teach students, I would have succeeded if he had helped me. So this is the combination of two clauses. So it is better to teach students simple sentence compared to the combination of two clauses. If we had started with past tense, that I had succeeded, or he had won the match, or they had started reading the books. So teaching them past tense would be better than the combination of two sentences or conditional sentence. Or if you read regularly, you will quick in speed, or you will be better reader. So better teaching conditional sentences and the combination of two classes, teach them future tense first. Okay, you will be better reader, or you can read in a better way. So teacher's job here is to teach simple sentences compared to complicated sentences. Students' native language, his first language, was ignored. It was not emphasized. Students' mother tongue was ignored and foreign language was emphasized. The language, English language he wanted to learn, that was emphasized in the class. Teacher was asked to speak English language with the students so that they have a lot of chances to listen language. And if they will listen, definitely they will speak. And there were certain facilities students were provided. Language lab was established for the students to attend it and listen audio and video cassettes and repeat the dialogues. So audiolingual method was also called behaviorist approach, where teacher was going to set the behavior of students. They were asked to repeat the sentences and they were asked to imitate the sentences. If students kept listening and kept repeating and kept imitating, definitely they would have a greater chance to learn language better and faster than the other methods. So in audiolingual method, we have certain merits and we have certain demerits. If we talk about the merits of audiolingual method, here students' grammatical accuracy was emphasized. You should not speak rough language, or you must speak correct language. And because of his lot of imitation and repetition, he had a lot of fluency in speaking, and he committed very few mistakes because same sentences were often repeated. If teacher asked them to one sentence, suppose I often go to school, so he started saying I often go to school, or he often goes to school, or she often goes to school, and teacher asked them that make it in the past tense, so he said I often went to school, I went to school regularly, or he went to school regularly. So teacher emphasized the grammatical accuracy. There were fewer mistakes committed by the students. This was one of the point from the side of merit. And other merit of this method was, this method could be adapted at any class. There was not a particular fixed level that adapted at primary level and avoided at middle level and avoided at higher level. No, this method could be adopted at any level. And students were greater chance again of listening this. They had a lot of practice in the class. And the practice was, teacher didn't brought one student in front of all the students to practice it. No, they were doing practice collectively in collaboration when they were sitting in the groups. So in audiolingual method, grammatical accuracy was emphasized, and this method could be adapted at any level. And students had they had English labs where teacher took students in the lab and they were given the opportunity to listen those dialogues and repeat them and imitate them. Besides certain merits, this method had certain demerits or disadvantages. What were the disadvantages of audiolingual method? Students had no fun in the class. Why? Because all the time they were repeating and imitating the dialogues which were told to them by the teacher. There was not fun. Students were not going to be creative. They were not going to be imaginative because students were given set patterns. Students were given set sentences by the teacher and they had to practice it. They could not think anything of their own. They could not be imaginative enough. So this was the demerit and disadvantages. And teacher had to take a lot of time in preparing activities for audiolingual method. Okay, it took a lot of time in preparing activities, and students had to follow the teacher. This was the disadvantage of this method. And students were not confident enough when they were asked to speak on their own or speak in the independent language, because they were not independent speakers. They were blindly following their teacher. And the greatest disadvantage of this method was reading and writing was ignored, though listening and speaking was appreciated. The students gave a lot of focus on listening and speaking, but two skills, English has 4 skills, but 2 of the skills were totally avoided and ignored. Reading and writing were ignored. So they were this was the disadvantage of learning audiolingual method. Certain roles student had to play and certain role teacher had to play. Suppose teacher asked them to questions and students answered those questions only. They were not speaking language from their own side. They were not asking their own question from the teacher. They had not another opportunity to speak or explain things, but they just answered the questions which were posed by the teacher. They were all the time imitating and repeating things, and they were having the conversation which was provided them by the teacher, that you have to repeat the dialogue of, suppose, a conductor and a passenger in a bus, or you have to repeat the dialogues of doctor and patient. You have to imitate these 2 roles, or you have to be the sailor and one has to be the customer. And they were having the dialogues of sailor on the shop and the customer who is purchasing something or buying something. So students' responsibility was limited. They had to follow the instruction of the teacher. They were blindly following the instructions of teacher. They were not creative enough. They were not imaginative enough. There was not a fun in the class. Teachers asked them, students, this was one of the role of the student. The teacher asked them to change the sentence from present to past, so they did this. They were asked to change the sentence from interrogative into negative. They did this. So they were changing the sentence from present to past and past to future and perfect tenses, and they were making negative. So there was again losing the creativity and imagination in the class. So, and teacher was leader. So students had some fixed roles and teacher had some fixed role. What was the job of the teacher? Teacher was the controller. He gave them activities. He posed them the questions. He asked them to do this and do that. They were not doing anything on their own. And teacher was all the time correcting the errors of the student. Don't, why you committed this mistake or you committed that mistake. So teacher was correcting their mistakes. And teacher was concentrating on the progress and performance of the student, that you have improved to this level and this student has improved that level. And he was providing them the model. So in audiolingual method, we came to know that the job of teacher and the job of student, responsibility of teacher and the responsibility of students, and it has merits and demerits. And this method, of course, is not applicable everywhere. This method requires the brilliant teacher who speaks English all the time, and he should be fluent in English, and he should be better model during teaching English language. So in our Pakistani context, we lack such teachers, and especially in rural areas where we are teaching English language. So this is the disadvantage in our setting. So hope you understand that audiolingual method is also called behaviorist approach, and it has merits and demerits. And what were the key points which I have told you, that imitating and repeating some shared behaviors till they fix in your memory. So hope you understand audiolingual method. And if you have any questions, send me in written. I will respond your questions. And please subscribe my channel. If you need more videos, visit my channel. Thank you very much.